When I was traveling in Laos, a lot of the people that I met there, their next destination was Vietnam. This was a 15-20 hour bus ride away. There's no way I was doing that. So instead, I headed back to Thailand, travelled across the east of Thailand, back to Bangkok, down to the islands, and then on to Malaysia. Yesterday, I took a flight from Kuala Lumpur, and now I'm finally in Vietnam, in the city of Hanoi. And look who's turned up. Mr. Lenin himself. After 4 months of travel in Southeast Asia, I'm back in one of my favourite cities. And I've been walking on the streets for about literally 2 minutes. And bloody hell. It's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this city. I've forgotten how much I love this city. It's just chaos. It's just madness. It's actually a bit quieter now than it was when I was walking from the bus that dropped me off. I was walking through these streets and bloody hell, must have been about 1 million bikes. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm trying to get my bearings. I've just come out of my hostel. The hostel is absolutely amazing. It's really, really good. And the guy sorted me out with data, so I'm all good. I've got 4 gigabytes of data per day for 30 days. I'm okay, thank you. For less than £10. Not sure what I'm going to do tonight. Might just have a wander around. Might get myself some new t-shirts while I'm here. Last time I was here, they were like just over £1, I think, from the night market. Oh, it's just crazy. It's so good to be back in Hanoi. Well, if you're looking for a backpack, this is the place to go. What the hell? On here, we have shops selling caps. We have spices and dried fruits. More backpacks. Even more backpacks. And more caps. There's shoe shops everywhere. Now I do want a banh mi, but this looks a bit clean. I want something a bit street and dirty. They look pretty good actually. They do banh mi with the Vietnamese meatballs and char siu and beef paste and a bit of everything on there for only 30,000, which is about £1. Now I'm going to see how much it is to buy one from a little street food place. Well, I'm not going to have banh mi for my first ever meal because I found myself outside the place where we used to come and have tomato tofu, and it was just the best thing ever. So I'm hoping that they still do it. Well, there's no tomato tofu on the menu, but I managed to show a picture on Facebook of when I had it here last time. And so they're going to do me one, because they do fried tofu, so she's just going to do it in a tomato sauce, I guess. Let's see if it's as good as it was last time. Got my beer BX, local beer, it's very nice as well. And that is 25k, so that's less than £1. It's been £8 a pint in Kuala Lumpur. We're going to head to a place called the Spy Bar, which was my favourite bar in Hanoi last time. It's still quite early, it's only 7 o'clock, but it's quite busy already. Before I head up there, I'll take up the beer street, see what beer street's like at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night. Looks pretty busy so far. So this is one of the main streets with all the bars. See, the bars are just named, a lot of them are just numbered. Bar 18, beer 23. Right then, it's my first full day in this chaotic city. Trying not to get hooked by the man there. Trying to not get run over. First thing I need to do, as always, is get a coffee. Now, I'm in the right place because Vietnam love their coffee, and there's some absolutely wonderful coffee shops in this city. I think one of them is around here. I'm hoping it's still open. It was probably my favourite coffee shop last time. It's not that easy to find from what I remember. Google Maps puts it over on the left-hand side. I had a feeling it was on the right-hand side, but maybe I'm coming at it from the wrong direction. Well, I found it, so I'm hoping it's open. Now you can see what I mean when I say it's not easy to find, because amongst all this lot, let's make sure I don't get run over. There's this sign here. And this is it. Is it open? Oh. According to Google Maps, it's open, and it looks like it is still open, just not right now. Plan B. I'm going to head now to a place which is famous in Hanoi, in fact famous in Vietnam, for its unusual coffee, because they make coffee with a special ingredient. And you do now see this coffee all over Hanoi, but these were the first. So I'm going to go and get myself an egg coffee. As you can see, you can't even walk on the paths because there's just bikes parked up everywhere, so you have to walk on the road. And I mean, actually it's pretty quiet now because we've just had about 3,000 bikes pass us. But yeah, they just come from every direction, flipping their horns all the way. Well, I'm on the right street then, because literally all of these restaurants advertise the egg coffee. But I do believe it's this one that did it the first time, 1946. It's a very popular place. They've got like 3 big rooms on this level, and there's a room downstairs. I don't know if it goes even further up, but it's very busy. I've ordered an egg coffee, just a straight egg coffee. It was a 35, so just over £1. Alright then, here we go. We arrived almost immediately, which is good. Wasn't expecting that. This on top, this is the egg with condensed milk, and the hot coffee's underneath. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm not gonna go anywhere in particular for food this morning. I'm just gonna pick something up on the way. There's plenty of choice, as you can imagine, in Hanoi. Bun Bo, Bun Da, Bin Da, Bun Da Bong. We got it all going on. Now, just a few minutes around the corner over here, there's something called the Mosaic Wall. That sounds pretty interesting. So let's go and have a look at some Vietnamese mosaics. I found the Mosaic Wall, but to be honest, I'm not exactly sure how I'm even going to get to look at it, because it's right next to the main road, and I'm not sure whether there's any pedestrian access to it. But if you look, it's just over the other side of this road. It goes on for bloody miles. I mean, we talk about like, what's the biggest mosaic you've seen? I think this could be it, to be honest. I was not expecting this. That's got to be... Well, it just goes on, I can't see the end of it. But can we actually go and have a look at it? Well, it's actually incredible, because we've come to the end of this wall now, which has just stretched on for bloody forever. And then there's a road, and then it starts again. Do I really want to cross this? Oh, there is actually a crossing here. The question is, when it turns to green, are these guys actually going to stop? I'm not feeling entirely convinced that they will, to be honest. I'm not exactly convinced that it'll ever turn to green. Do I have to press anything? Yes, I do. 1 second, here we go. Are they stopping? No, not really. The cars have stopped, but the bikes keep going. It's just got me halfway across the roads to the mosaics. I made it. I made it to the mosaics. Maybe it'd have been better to just walk across there, to be honest, because I'm right up close. I can't exactly step into the road. It just literally goes on for miles. It goes right on as far as the eye can see that way. and right on as far as the eye can see this way. Too much mosaics, if anything. And you can't really see them because you're right, come too close to them. I should have walked across here maybe. Can I get across there? Wow, look at it around here. I just saw a dog being sold, dog meat, literally a full roasted dog. And a dog's head. Now, we saw this last time, and obviously people were upset when I put this picture up on Facebook. It's meat at the end of the day. There's no difference between eating a dog and there is eating any other animal, really. So unless you're a vegan, then I don't see why you would be upset at eating one animal but not another. I find that a little bit hypocritical. Now obviously in China it's a different thing. They go out and capture people's pets and torture the animals because they believe that the flesh of a dog that's distressed is much leaner. So that's a different thing. I'm not making a judgment call on how people live. Now it's not something that is sold openly on the streets of Hanoi. You don't see it on every street. Not much room there. So here we come to a crossing with no lights. So no one's going to stop. So I just got to make a dash for it, really. What the hell? Been here before, the Bin Jazz Club. Live jazz every night from 9 o'clock. Somewhere around here is the Hanoi Opera House. Is this it to my right? I think it could be. So this is the Hanoi Opera House. There's a thing there saying ticket box, so I think you have to pay to get in, which I wasn't aware of. Or maybe that's just for actual performances. Let's go and take a look. Well, it's £4 to go inside, so I'm not going to bother with that. My next stop is the Hanoi Hilton, which is the prison where the prisoners of war in Vietnam were kept, or one of them, the famous one, I guess. And that's only like £1 to get in, so let's go and have a look at the old Hanoi Hilton. So this is the cell where the political prisoners were held. And the prisoners would have to use the toilet in front of all their inmates. These are the toilets over here. When the prisoners fought against the harsh conditions, the prison warden would punish them by refusing to have the toilets cleaned. And there would just be 2 buckets underneath those 2 holes, and you can imagine what the smell was like in here and how hot it must have been during the Vietnam summers. This is the underground sewer in the death cells yard, and on the night of December the 24th, 1951, 16 prisoners that had been sentenced to death escaped through this sewer. 5 of them succeeded and rejoined the resistance to continue the struggle. This shows the political prisoners block where they would turn the prison into a school, educating themselves about the revolutionary argument. Papers would be kept in the toilet. And this is another underground sewer where over 100 prisoners escaped in 1945. You can see the brutal treatment of the prisoners here, holding their fists in the air as an act of defiance. Ah, look at these. This is the guillotine that was used to behead the patriotic soldiers that were imprisoned here. Prisoners that had been confined to death were supposed to have a minimum of 10 months in the death cells, in which time they could lodge an appeal to have their sentence reduced. Any prisoners that were considered dangerous to the French were killed within 2 to 3 days. It actually wasn't what I was expecting it to be, the museum. I was expecting it to be more about the American prisoners of war that were held here, but that was a small part of the prison. Majority of it was devoted to the Vietnamese prisoners who were held here by the French in the early part of the 20th century. The part of the prison that discusses the American soldiers, I'm not sure whether it's a little bit propaganda because it talks about how well they were treated. I'm not sure exactly if that's true or not, but anyway, it's definitely worth checking out, the old prison. And now it's time for some banh mi. Right then, my first banh mi in Vietnam. And I've come to a little tiny stall here, little street place. I've gone for a mix, bread hams mixing. I don't know what that means. They have grilled pork, char siu and grilled beef, so maybe it's a mix of all three. Or actually, if it's mixed hams, it will be char siu and grilled pork. But yeah, 28, so that's cheaper than the one I saw yesterday. So let's hope it's good. So here we are then, the first banh mi in Vietnam, 28. Which is about £1 exactly, and there's char siu, there's pork on there, coriander, some kind of bean sprouts, chili sauce. Let's get into this. Woody starving. Oh god, yes, that is so bloody good. I'm going to be eating so many of them in Vietnam. Am I ever going to get across this road? It's actually on green now, believe it or not. What the hell, there's a bike coming from opposite direction as well. One way. Look at this crazy building here. Well, there's a nice looking temple just over here. Wonder if I can get to it. Here we are at the next stop, which is the Confucian Temple with landscape gardens and altars and a bit of bloody everything, to be honest. It's called the Temple of Literature. Oh, it's quite the entrance. Now this entrance here would be used by the king and the high-ranking people, while the students and the normal folk would have to enter via these paths to the left and right. And the courtyard is completely symmetrical. I'm not walking through that entrance, I'm going through the king's entrance. It really is like an oasis of calm. Surrounding here, we've got all the busy roads of Hanoi. You can hear them, but yeah, right in the centre. This is the second courtyard, the courtyard of great success. When people came to study here, the first thing they would learn is how to be respectful. They would then progress onto how to become a successful human being, I guess. And the final training would be on how to reach enlightenment. And again, when you look at the entrances for the students and then the entrance for the king. This pool in the middle of courtyard 3 is called the Well of Heavenly Brilliance. and it's surrounded by these, what I thought were gravestones, but they're tablets. These tablets contain the names of all the people who passed the 82 Mandarin examinations that were held here between the 15th and the 18th century. Over 1,000 names have been recorded right in the heart of crazy busy Hanoi. Now we're entering Courtyard 4 through the Gate of Great Synthesis. See the two symmetrical dragons on top of the roof here, facing the lunar disc. And this is going to bring us into eventually the 5th courtyard, and this is where people would pray to Confucius. Final courtyard then, courtyard number 5. These buildings were actually only built in 1999, and it's used for ceremonies in memorial of old scholars. This is going to be interesting because there's a crossing but no lights again, and I don't see how there's actually any way for this traffic to stop. So how the hell am I going to get across here? The trick is to try and cross when there's not many bikes. That's easy said than done. Yeah, well we will. We got a local. That's the way to do it.
Where you from?
England. Nice one, my friend. Felt like such a tourist then. I'm usually pretty good, but that was quite a hard one. Done quite a lot today, haven't I? More than I was expecting, to be honest. It's all fairly compact, Hanoi, so you're not walking for great distances. Anyway, the next place I'm going to is a little park, which, believe it or not, is called Lenin Park. And it contains the only remaining statue of Lenin in Southeast Asia. Well, this is it. Lenin Gardens. Look at this, you can't even move for bikes even when they're parked. Bloody hell. Yeah, Lenin Gardens. So somewhere in here, in fact I think it might be over here on the left. Yep, I can see a statue. I'm not sure what this game is. And here he is, Mr. Lenin himself, still standing proud. The last time I was in Hanoi, we came to the famous train street where the tracks are lined with cafes, and then when the train comes everyone has to jump in the cafe to let the train pass. Now I'm on part of it now. It's not the part, but I think from what I hear it's pretty much closed, and or in terms of how it used to be. Now you can only go to certain cafes, I think. You can see there are still places open. Bloody hairdressers there. And people have said that when they've been on the train street now, they have aggressive cafe owners telling them they need to go into their cafe, otherwise they can't walk down the street. Nice part of Hanoi. There's some nice boutique shops, independents, and okay, I was just about to say somewhere around here it's there's the cathedral right bloody next to me. Well, night has fallen on Hanoi. Last night I went out to a bar, then another bar, then another bar, and before I knew it I was leaving the bar and it was too late. There was no food places open. The only things that were open were little kind of street food. I mean, I'm not talking things like this, I'm talking people with their own little barbecues selling dried fish and things like that. It was a very popular choice, but it wasn't for me. And so I ended up with an egg mayonnaise sandwich from Circle K, or whatever it's called, the kind of 7-Eleven-y type shop. So tonight I'm determined that that is not going to happen. So I'm going to go out now, I'm going to eat before I have a drink. I'm going for some Bun Cha. Some of these places give you a tourist price. So I'm only going to go to one where I can actually see the menu and pay the same as what the locals pay. Right then, what a feast. So this is the Bun Cha combo. So we have these Vietnamese kind of meatballs. They're very much like burger in this amazing broth. I think that's pieces of ginger in there. Got a plate full of noodles, some crab spring rolls, and an absolute mountain of lettuce. Absolutely beautiful. I've just had a message from a Dutch guy that I met yesterday and went out with him last night, saying that he's found a place where the beer is only 7,000 dong, which is like 25 pence. Now I'm going to a place now where the beer is 99,000. That's the cheapest one. It's a craft beer place, but it's still only £3, and they do a passion fruit beer. So I've got to give it a go, just after one. Oh yeah, that's really, really nice. It's just like drinking juice. Right then, back where the day started at the Circle Cafe, which is very clearly open right now. Here we go, we can hear the soft jazz playing. They've still got the Christmas tree up. Let's hope they've got that a start there. So nice that this place is still open. Grilled roque. Well, it's your typical Southeast Asian street market, selling trainers and socks and electronic devices, all kinds of crazy stuff. I think we might be coming to the end now. I do believe that this is actually a market, this here, from what I remember. Could be closed now, I think. Jewellery, socks. Nothing funky though. A place to come if you want to get yourself a Adidas hat. I think these are as funky as I'm going to get, to be honest. Adidas. Well, this is certainly a colourful street. Guess this is all getting ready for the Chinese New Year. Wow, it just goes on and on this street as well. It's all selling the same stuff. Hope my GoPro can handle this much colour. The months in Eastern Europe might be pushing it a bit. Just a few yards past that guy, who, to be fair, he was like telling the dog to say hello, but then there was really a woman with about 4 dogs all dressed up with a basket in front of her for money. So I'm not sure whether I should have paid him. Oh well. Who knows what the etiquette is in this market. Sounds like there's some live music going on up here. See behind me, this restaurant here, people all outside eating the hot pots. Same here, it just smells absolutely amazing. Look at the food that's coming out here. When you get to this particular corner of Hall Street, you think that something's going on, like a busker or performer, and people are stood there and watching, but they're not. It's just, this is just how busy it is. though, the night market is what it is. We're just moving away from the night market and just walking down the random streets at the side, and you discover live music on every corner, bars everywhere, grab drivers selling you women and weed, you know, or trying to. Yeah, and I've just found literally the quietest pub in this area, and there's only me in it, there's no one in it, so I can sit outside to chill out. It's very, very comfy seats. And yeah, just relax and enjoy my beer Viet for 20 dong, which is, what, about 70 pence.